Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial. So in the last tutorial we talked about the controller, and now is the time to talk about the view. The login.jsp page is open on the screen, and this is the view that we are going to talk about. Login.jsp was rendered by login.controller using the dispatcher. Now if we look at the page, you can see that the first few lines are telling that the content type is text HTML and the page language is Java, and then we are using the taglib. In this case the taglib is the JSTL, and you can see that there is something called prefix over here, and the prefix is C. So that means that whenever we are going to use this JSTL tag, we are going to put C in front of it. And then there are a bunch of HTML tags, and I have also included the style sheet, or I have included the Bootstrap 4.3.1 for presenting data on the HTML. Now you look that there is the body over here, and within the body we have a form action. You can see that this line, the form action, is having C URL. So this C means that this is a JSTL tag library, and the value is the guest list. So this path will be invoked when we click on the submit button, and the submit button is going to have what is the post type method. Alright, now you can see that over here there are two input type buttons, input text boxes. One is the username and the other one is the password. Okay, so this username and the value is user.username. So user is, in this case, is my model, and I'll be talking about that later on. So this user has an attribute is username, and the same user has an attribute as password. So whenever we're clicking on the submit button, okay, it's going to be invocation of the post method, and it's going to go to the next path, that is guest list path. So now the server knows that where this guest list path is, and it is over here in the guest list controller. So if we look at the guest list controller, you can see that this is again a web servlet, and in this case I haven't put the URL patterns. By default you can just put it like this, guest list. So this controller will be invoked, and then this controller will do whatever needs to be done. Okay, so in this case this is a post method, so we are going to come over here in this do post method. Okay, so now let's look into our HTML, into our application, and I'm going to write like this. So this is my first page, and in the page I have A and A. Okay, these two values are hard-coded in my application. Now when I'm clicking on this login, it's moving on to the next page, and see the path here is the guest list. So that means the server knows that which path or which controller is configured or mapped with this guest list path, and then it invokes that controller, and in this case that controller is the guest list controller. And there are nothing in there because I don't have anything initialized for the guest list. Okay, so now again let's move on to our login.jsp. So again this is something that we have to put form action and then value in order for our JSP pages to move on to the next controller. Okay, and again another thing is that we have to know that this username, and this is the parameter that we are passing on, username and user password. Okay, and the method is the post method, because whenever we are passing on the user ID and password or something that is very secretive, we should always use the post method. And you can see over here that this code is actually a Java code, and we can put the Java code within these tags, but this is not a very good practice to use it, because your code will not be maintainable at this point. Okay, so that's all for the view. Thank you.